Hello and welcome. It is Friday afternoon, and you may or may not be off work, but if you are, you ain't got shit else to do. So thank you for joining us for Monk and Lou's Happy Hour right here on the MMA Engine channel. Be sure to like the video and subscribe as well. We have tons of stuff coming at you, sometimes 2-3 times a day before every single UFC card. So MMA Engine, the place to be. Lou, what is going on, bud? Are you excited for this UFC 273 pay-per-view card?
There are some days of the year that are just amazing to be a sports fan. And tomorrow, get Liverpool Tottenham at 2:30 p.m. As a soccer fan, that's a fun game for me. 7 p.m. I got the Kentucky Derby, which I'm going to give away a bonus pick at the end of the show. Give away my Derby picks. It's not overly complicated. And then we got a great pay-per-view tomorrow, man. Despite a little bit of controversy today, uh, I'm still super pumped for most of the fights in this card. The undercard, the early undercard is a little kind of suspect, but a lot of these fights are really interesting. And we got the Bulgarian 50 Cent on the card. What more could you want?
No kidding, man. I mean, 15 fights and the main event. I mean, before the whole weight, scenario, this was going to be, still could be one of the best fights of the year. Several fights on this card I'm super excited for. I think that's all the business up front we had to take care of. So let's jump right into it, guys. First fight, Journey Newson. Have not heard that name in over a year and a half, going against newcomer Fernie Garcia. I'll go ahead and start this one off, Lou, for DraftKings. Journey Newson, 7,600. That is probably the side I'm going to be falling on, maybe a little bit in GPPs. I'm not playing this fight at all in cash because, super high variance, blah, blah, blah. Newson is 0-2, 1-no contest in the UFC. Fernie Garcia, this is his first fight in the UFC. Newson averaging only 1.79 points per minute. So, not a great scoring fighter so far for DraftKings. Meanwhile, Fernie Garcia, if you would have scored points for him last time, 7 points a minute and 105 in his first round win over, I believe it was, Joshua Weems. Newson, losing to guys like Ricardo Ramos and Randy Costa. So not the best of the best, but not the worst of the worst either. I like Newson here just because he's had more fights at this level, and I'm kind of taking a show me first attitude with Fernie Garcia. That said, I will have a bit of both in GPPs, none in cash, as I said, maybe a little bit more Newson just for that experience level there, but not really looking at a ton of action on this first fight of the night. What about you on the betting side of things?
Yeah, so I'm probably not betting the first 3 fights of the night. I just want to do a disclaimer. Like I said, it is Derby Day, and I get really excited about that.
Be wearing your hat and your what do they drink? Mint juleps.
That's right.
Yeah, buddy.
A little bourbon, a little mint, a little
Yes,
fun, a little simple
stuff.
syrup.
Oh,
But
yeah.
but anyway, this fight's kind of weird. If you look at, and I won't spend too much time on it, but if you look at Newson's run, I mean, you're saying Ricardo Ramos and Costa not the best, but not the worst, but that's a pretty tough run to start with, I think.
For sure.
He's being fed now. Fernie Garcia looked really impressive on his Contender Series fight, but he's traditionally not a knockout guy. He's not a big finisher. I think Newson has an advantage on the ground. Garcia seems to have the advantage on the feet from what we've seen of him. But I don't see a finish here. And if you want to look at fight doesn't go, or fight goes the distance, it's minus 135. I feel like that's the play. If Garcia wins, it is going to be a decision. If Newson wins, he probably grounded him and had control for at least 2 rounds. And it's also, not only is it Garcia's debut coming in from the Contender Series, but he's opening a massive pay-per-view up, and you just don't know the nerves that go into it. But I could see this being kind of a war of attrition on the feet, and I'm going to say it goes distance at minus 135. That is the play I have. I should mention that all my lines tonight will be from either 5 Dimes or BetMGM. I will not give DraftKings any business ever again for reasons I will not state on the show, but they can suck it.
Yeah, maybe we'll just call them the DFS provider that shan't be named from now on.
You can say your DraftKings lineup. It's fine. I don't need to say it, though.
There you go. Personal boycott. I stand with you, Lou, 100%. Lupita Godinez, second fight going against Ariane Carnelossi. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? Another one. I know you said you don't have a ton on the first 3 fights. Again, same kind of thing here on my side.
This one I do like from a betting perspective, and I may just lie and bet it anyway because it's just I can't help myself. But It seems like a mismatch in terms of the grappling. Like Godinez should be able to take Carnelossi down at will. I know Carnelossi's coming off a 3rd round knockout, but Godinez has a pretty good gas tank, and I think she can go 15 minutes and get takedowns. And I really could just see this being a rinse and repeat. Godinez, unanimous decision. Carnelossi does not have a good get-up game, so could be 3 takedowns, and that'll do it, just the beginning of each round. So I don't see a finish on the Godinez side, so I'm going to take Godinez's decision at plus 100. I see Glenbot saying Ariane in the distance. I think if you're on the Carnelossi side, that is the way to play her, and you are getting very good equity. You're getting, depending on the book you have, anywhere between 400 and 475. But I don't know. I just think Godinez is pretty tough, and I think it's just rinse and repeat with the takedowns. But not a strong play either way for me on this one. I just lean toward the Godinez side. What do you got, Monk?
I tend to agree. I was on Arnie Carnelossi at the beginning of the week, but I just kind of think that Godinez, like you said, is going to be able to control this fight. Both women, fantastic DraftKings scores. 3.5 points a minute for Godinez, 4.3 points a minute for Carnelossi. And we have, smaller sample size, but not just one fight. This is between 3 and 4 fights between the two of them. 106 when Godinez wins, 108, almost 109 when Carnelossi wins. So I guess I'm forced to play this. Both women have made the optimal lineup in one of their previous fights. 1 of 4 for Godinez, 1 of 2 for Carnelossi. So I'm going to have to play this one. I'm going to have more Carnelossi, like you said, for that possible finish early. And at 7,200, she's going to be very easy to get to, possibly used for a bit of salary relief as well. The $9,000 range this week, I think, is pretty much trash, for lack of a better word. Godinez will be one of the people I will choose to roster in GPP matches because of that high pace and high score per win. 107, that's ridiculous. So she scores, 73 on average per fight. Even when she loses, 40.71. So I'm not saying this is a great cash play, but it could be, a cash play chance. But at 9,000, that's a bit much. So I'm going to be keeping exposures low for the most part. I agree with Lou, though. I think Godinez wins this fight. Third fight of the night, newcomer Clayton Rodriguez going against CJ Vergara. I have no idea about this one. I guess I'm going to be backing Rodriguez. Vergara 0-1 in the UFC, $6,800. You get a ton of salary relief. He's like the 3rd cheapest fighter on the card. 3.19 points per minute is what he put up in his first fight. It did go 15 minutes. He did lose that fight, but only allowed 69.38 points in that loss. Rodriguez, coming off of a Dana White Contender Series fight, 68.63 points is what he would have scored. So a very, even right around less than 70 points for both of these guys in their past UFC fight or DWCS fight. 9,400 for Rodriguez seems crazy. I will probably get to a bit of him for that early finish upside. He could come out here and finish CJ Vergara early. But if this goes the distance, you'll be lucky to get 70, 75 points. So I would keep expectations tempered. I'm probably maybe playing a bit of Vergara just because of the newcomer status for Rodriguez, but I'm not going crazy with either one of these guys. What do you got?
So Vergara's only been finished once, and it was kind of a fluke choke in the first round. But I like this fight against Odi Osborne. Odi Osborne got a little tired at the end. Vergara's tough.
Yep.
Rodriguez should have him everywhere here, but the bet I like the most is I like Rodriguez's decision at plus 150. I think he's going to dominate. I just don't think he's going to get Vergara out of there. Like I said, I liked Vergara's toughness. I didn't think Ode Osborne fought him great, if I could be honest. I wasn't too impressed that tape, but what I was impressed about with Vergara is his ability to, he looked like he was just starting the fight when the 3rd round started. I liked his cardio. I just think Rodriguez jabs him up for 3 rounds. I just don't think he gets him out of there. So plus 145 is a good play if you want to do it. The over is really juiced. The over 1.5 is juiced anyway.
Yeah.
Over 2.5 is minus 120, and I don't hate that either. Even if if Rodriguez shows he's got a lack of cardio, I don't know that Vergara's not a great finisher. He's okay. But I could see that going. I could see this going to the judges one way or the other. So fight goes. I don't think you could justify Rodriguez's money line price. He's a parlay piece at best, but I don't like taking people over minus 300 for these kind of bets.
Yeah, and if he is going to go to decision, like I said, that score is going to be super sketchy. So I mean,
I never hate these. I never hate these kind
yeah,
of bets. CJ split decision. I really think this is Rodriguez unanimous. I just the tape is. He looks like he's he's got a tremendous amount of talent, but I don't like to go heavy on guys making their debuts from the Contender
exactly.
Series.
Right. That is the thing. That's my thought process as well. So be a little bit lighter on that one for me personally. Tracy Cortez going against Melissa Gatto. Your horse races might be finished about this time, Lou. What do you have as far as action on this one? Because I could see it from either side, honestly.
Yeah, so this is like the MMA Twitter special this week. Everybody's on Gatto. The problem is this line has been just absolutely demolished like all week. I mean, I think Gatto opened it. She opened at 190, and then that got immediately bet down to about 150. But she's sitting at 125 right now, and so if you liked Gatto, you kind of missed the value here. So this is going to go one of two ways. This is going to be Tracy Cortez by decision, by getting all the takedowns, or it's going to be Gatto by finish. Now, I know people are probably looking at the Gatto side. I had Gatto round 3 against Eubanks, and it paid off nicely, but that wasn't a bet on Gatto more than it was a fade on Eubanks's like traditionally bad cardio. Wheezy, I trust Wheezy immensely, and I know his ass shaving in the week did not go well last week, but Wheezy is so on the Cortez side here by decision, and I understand why. Joe Gatto. I understand like why people like the Gatto side here. She's got the stand-up advantage. She's going to be active off her back, but I think Cortez is super strong. I think she's improved. She had a bad weight cut against Justine Kish, so she didn't look great in that fight. Now, Kish all of a sudden is a world beater in Bellator, yeah. But I'm going to play the Cortez by decision prop. I'm not going to sit here and say that I love it. I don't have a strong read. And if you love the Gatto side, like I can understand that, but Cortez decision, it's 150, depending on where you're looking, between 150 and 130. I don't see a finish on the Cortez side at all, but I can see just tons of takedowns and Gatto really struggling to defend them. I will say, if you like the Gatto side, also a live bet is not a horrible option here. I don't expect Gatto to get a flash sub. I think she seems like she takes a little. I don't want to say she's a completely slow starter, but if you look at some of her tape, she has come out a little flat in the first round and then kind of fights back into it. Also, she likes fighting from her back. And I mean, it's changed a little bit over time, but judges, unless you do crazy amounts of damage off your back, judges just typically do not like to give you a round. So I could see Gatto being plus 300 after one. I could see her being as high as plus 7, 8, 1,000 going into round 3. And her sub prop's decent. Her sub prop, I think, was 4-1 or 5-1. 5 plus 550 is her sub prop.
Yeah,
so
I've got on average 542.
If you do like the Gatto side, that's a way to play it. But I'm going to side with Wheezy. I'm going to side with his passion here. I'm going to side what I think will be another, much like the Godinez fight, a 15-minute takedown affair. Which leads me to a question for you, if I may, in the DK lineup world. I see the Cortez and the Godinez fights kind of playing out similarly, and you're probably getting the same kind of takedowns and everything like that, like in terms of like your point equity. Cortez is 300 cheaper, I believe.
Yep.
So that's a question for you. Is Cortez the smarter play because she's cheaper? Or does Godinez become a better play because she's a leverage spot where maybe not a lot of people are going to get to her?
I'm thinking it's Godinez. I mean, she has the leverage, like you said, but also Cortez averages less than 90 points when she wins. Godinez is over 100, close to 106, I believe is what I said. And they both have about the same pace, right around 4 points per minute. So I kind of like the Godinez side. The only issue is Carnelossi seems like she is pretty tough, and Cortez does have some pretty good defensive pace as well, allowing only 1.8 points a minute. So I'll probably lean Godinez, but I might not have a ton of either fight. I don't know, man. Like Cortez could really come out here and land, 3-4 takedowns. She scores almost 2 points per minute just in takedowns and control time. Those numbers are pretty crazy, man. I mean, before the fight, we were talking. I've been going back and forth on this all week. At the beginning of the week, I was on the Cortez side heavy for the takedowns. Then I'm thinking, I guess, I don't know. I just got caught up in the Twitterverse. I have no idea, but I start thinking that Gatto could come out here and, maybe this is the time to fade Tracy Cortez. Maybe, we're not, 3 fights, good job for playing her, but maybe this is the time. But now I'm thinking if she lands a couple of these takedowns, she's going to score well. So again, I think this is another one where you simply have to play both sides. Short answer to your question, I'll be on the Godinez probably a little bit more, but I'm also going to be playing Cortez in GPPs and definitely Melissa Gatto as well. Even though she probably will be pretty heavily owned, maybe I'll mix it up with a little bit of variance play by putting in Carnelossi as well, just in case something happens there. But I'll probably be a little bit under as far as both of these fights go. And if this goes to decision, I don't see how Gatto scores well at all. I would assume that Cortez would have been taking her down, like you said, and racking up points. So again, if it goes to decision, 90 points for a women's flyweight is pretty good. But yeah, I don't know, man. She can either take her down 6-7 times or 0 times. I really have no idea, and that is the problem at $8,700. So I'll answer your question with Godinez, but I am not confident. Speaking of not confident, Cameron Van Camp, first fight in the UFC, going up against Andre Fiallo, coming off of the first round knockout of Miguel Baeza. Fiallo, I'm going to be all over him this week. He's at my favorite salary, $9,500. Does not have a good pace, 2.18 points per minute, but when he beat Baeza, he put up 112 and made the optimal lineup. He fought Michel Pereira in his very first fight, and then who did I just say that I can't remember? Miguel Baeza after that, beating him. So I think he's shown that he deserves to be on this stage. Meanwhile, Cameron Van Camp coming in as a UFC newcomer. Yes, good point, Glenbot. That is also true. Cortez hometown advantage. Cameron Van Camp coming in, UFC debutant, 6,700, the absolute worst salary to play. Fiallo should really come out here and finish Van Camp early. I think they're giving him, they're like, thanks for the 2 tough UFC debut fights against 2 tough guys. Here's Cameron Van Camp. So that's kind of how I see this one. I'll be playing Fiallo a ton in GPPs, maybe a bit in cash as well. Because I do think he wins this fight, 8-9 times out of 10. And if it's in the first round, he's going to score well. Even in the second round, he could pay off that salary. So he is $2,200 more expensive than his average, which is a huge number that I don't usually like. But the salary voodoo is making up for that. So $9,500. Give me Andre Fiallo in a ton of lineups. What do you got? Anything on the underdog here?
No, not on the underdog. But in all fairness, to Fiallo's average salary, look who he's had in his first 2 fights. He's had
exactly
Pereira, which he took on short notice, and Baeza, who I think at this point maybe we've just overrated as a talent. But Van Camp is one of the things when I do tape is, especially with newcomers that I've just never seen, these are the guys that I really need to start focusing on. I don't know why Van Camp has this fight. This guy's not a UFC fighter, as far as I'm concerned. He's okay. He's got some grappling, but short and sweet. And I like the fact that Fiallo went to Dana White and said, I want to fight 6 times this year. He's basically the Portuguese Chris Curtis. He just wants to be active. And, I mean, we haven't seen Fiallo wrestle. He hasn't done too much, but I don't know that Van Camp can get him down. I don't know that Van Camp, definitely his striking is, there's no comparison here. So you can play this however you want to cut down that odds. You go Fiallo KO minus 135, which is super reasonable. And then if you just want to know what crooks DraftKings are, if you want to play Fiallo round 1, which I like, Fiallo round 1 is plus 130 on DraftKings. Fiallo round 1 on BetMGM plus 185.
Jesus.
So thanks, crooks.
That's 55 cents.
that's a very big difference. So
holy shit.
I like the round 1. I don't know what the round 1 KO is. I know BetMGM hasn't put a ton of their props up yet for Fiallo. A lot of these books haven't. That fight still doesn't have a ton of props out.
Yeah, which is weird because it's been announced and on for at least 4 or 5 days now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they know that people are just going to hammer them. They're probably waiting. But either way you want to play this should be one way, like an easy. This should be no stress, but it's gambling. But it should be no stress here. I think Fiallo starches them early.
Good. And that would be huge for DraftKings, paying off that salary, making the optimal lineup. That would be fantastic.
He also looks like Mr. Potato Head. And I just want to establish that, like,
He does.
the weird looking dude. But he's not the weirdest looking guy in the card, because the other two are in this fight.
You mean Blagoy Ivanov and Marcos Hegerio de Lima? Let's see. Ivanov,
Bulgarian 50 Cent.
That's right. Man, stabbed with an 8-inch blade and lived to tell the tale.
Stabbed 15 times, bro.
Ridiculous.
15 times.
I don't know if it was outside his grandmother's house, like 50 Cent lore, but
it was the Sophia Club.
We could find out. Going against Marcos Hegerio de Lima. This is a decent cash play for Ivanov. If he does get the win, he's gonna get a decision most likely. 2.08 points a minute, very low. Only 72 when he wins, also very low. But he's only allowing 1.9 points a minute and 64 when he loses. So no points whatsoever. There's almost more stab wounds on Blagoy Ivanov than points in his DraftKings or in his UFC fights. Marcos Hegerio de Lima, this is not going to be a cash play for me. This is going to be more of a GPP side. You get him at the cheaper salary. Complete opposite pace, 3.63 a minute, scores 103.6 when he wins. Also, only gives up 1.7, but averaging 94.12 when he loses, which means he is getting finished. And you look up at the top right of my chart here, 5 losses by submission finish, guys. So I don't expect Blagoy Ivanov to, submit de Lima per se, but he does have 6 submissions of his own in his professional career. That's all I'll say about this one. You're getting de Lima cheaper than his average. You are paying up a bit for Ivanov. I don't have a problem with either one. Give me Ivanov in cash. Give me de Lima in GPPs. And that's about it. I probably think Ivanov wins this by decision more times than he doesn't. But who knows? He also hasn't fought in 2 years. Both these guys are over 35, almost 36 years old. For Ivanov, almost 37 for de Lima. So the only thing that's balancing it out is de Lima has made the optimal in both of his last 2 fights. So like I said, de Lima GPPs, Ivanov cash. What do you got?
15 times, dude.
15.
Stabbed 15 times. I'm all over Ivanov here. I was on the de Lima side when he killed Clint's dad. So he made me money there. But I don't know. Ivanov is like I don't know how you can't get him out of there. I don't think de Lima can hit him hard enough to get him out of there. And then de Lima's a quitter. I mean
Ivanov's got to be the toughest guy on the card, right? Has to be easily.
Oh, yeah. He's the toughest guy in Phoenix right now. And de Lima just he's a quitter. And like you look at his losses, it's like Romanov, like round 1 choke. All right, like that's Romanov's good.
Fair.
Stefan Struve, 2nd round choke. Like, come on, dude. Struve, OSP, round 2 choke. That's before OSP stopped caring. Okay. I don't have Bert here, but Gadzhimarad Antigulov, round 1 choke. Nikita Krylov, round 1 choke.
Ugh.
There's a pattern here. And a lot of these chokes were not fully on. He's just like, yep, I had enough. There's no cardio. I don't like de Lima's heart. So I'm playing Ivanov a bunch of ways here. I actually this is my first let's go crazy with the props play.
Nice.
Ivanov submission. I love it. Ivanov round 2.
500?
Sub plus 500. Round 2 plus 650. Round 2 submission 19-1.
Woo.
I'm all on the Ivanov side here. I will say this. I know like you look at heavyweight and so fight doesn't go as minus 165, which is very low for heavyweight division in general. But if you do take that, then you take de Lima's 2 problems. You take de Lima's issue of having quitting in the middle of fights. You also take the fact that he's going to have 3 minutes of just thudding this dude in the dome. Yeah. So I don't hate that play, but I am just heavy on the Ivanov side. I love it. He's I can't believe the guy's only 35. I mean, if you told me he was 60, I'd have believed you. But we're gonna play Ivanov, and it's gonna be pretty tight butthole in the first couple of minutes with de Lima swinging for the fences. But I think Rothwell was kind of on the way to be. Rothwell had durability for a long time, but it's faded a lot. I think Ivanov's durability is it's otherworldly. It's not human. this dude, the shots he can take. So I think the Lima might hit him 5 times and just tap. Be like, nope. All right.
Well, shit, man. Before we move on, let me add to then I will, because of that breakdown, I will be playing some even off in GPPs. If he gets that finish, he could score pretty well. And at 8,400, and with these stats that I gave about how he doesn't score shit for points, this could be a little bit of a leverage play here.
What's nice with him too is that, and again, this plays into DeLima's problems, is that if Ivanov gets a takedown at any point in the round, DeLima's not getting up.
Yep.
So you're gonna get you're only gonna get one takedown, but you will have control time for the round. He just look at DeLima's fights. The guy
grab him and fall on him.
The guy never he has. You don't talk about a bad get up game. He don't even try to get up. He's like, "Yep, I lost the round." Like, okay, I'll save. Like his whole theory is to save his energy and come out swinging in the beginning of the round. I've seen this in a couple of fights with him, but the only thing I'm worried about is he get finished at the end of round 1.
Yeah,
even off live to fall on and be like, "Yep, you're tapped, dude."
True. All right. Well,
I love it.
Hell of a breakdown.
Bulgarian 50 Cent, bro.
Let's do it. And hey, if you bet against 50 Cent back in the day, that's on you, man.
Yeah, you lost a lot of money, dude.
Exactly. Unlike 50 Cent, who did not lose a lot of money. Next fight, Brandon Raw Dog Royval going against Matt Schnell. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? Because, Royval seems like the most inconsistent fighter on the card.
Well, I don't know how you could say.
Is that a better word?
I don't know how you could say Raw Dog and then not call him Matt Danger Schnell.
That's true.
I feel kind of bad for Schnell in that he had a bunch of fights canceled, like the Alex Perez debacle with weight, and then Schnell got sick and they canceled the fight. And I just don't know where Schnell's better than Royval. I mean, he's not horrible anywhere, but Royval is just going to blitz him. I mean, this is if you like the Royval side, in the distance is -105. I mean, I could see Royval just absolutely swarming him round 1. The issue I have with Royval is, and I trust him more than you do, but the issue I have with him is he's been in some really dicey spots in the first round. So, I mean, Bontarine had him. Kai Kara France. Now, no shame in the Kai Kara France. Like, he beat Kai Kara France. He's now a title contender who might get the next title shot. So, I mean, his losses they're okay, but or his wins are good. And he lost to Pantoja. He lost to Moreno. The guy's fighting just the upper tier of competition you can find. This is a humongous step down in terms of that. This is no disrespect to Schnell, who I think is cagey. He's got good vet savvy, but man, Royval just everywhere. Has him everywhere. I don't like doing round 1 props typically, unless it's like the Fiallo fight, like I mentioned. But the round 2 finish for Royval, it's not bad. It's anywhere between 400 and 500, depending on your book. Yeah, and Royval, this is the first time Royval's fought in front of a big crowd, not at the Apex or in the pandemic era.
Do you think he uses all his energy immediately, or what?
I think he beats the crap out of him for 7 minutes and gets him out of there in round 2. I just think Schnell's pretty tough. And if I go back to the predictions that I had for Alex Perez against Schnell, it's kind of I'm in a similar boat where I was like, I think Schnell can kind of hang in there on the feet long enough. If it goes to the ground, I think Royval is going to get him out of there. I don't want to play the sub prop because Royval could just ground and pound him. He's diverse. But I was big on Perez round 2. And to be honest, this is a very similar read to me. I know Perez and Royval are very different stylistic fighters. Royval's way more energy. Perez is a harder hitter. But man, I know you don't trust Royval, but there's the one thing I'm going to bring up as a concern. Now, it's not for this fight, but just going forward with Royval. He's mentioned he's had some shoulder issues. They've been recurring over the years. This isn't something that goes away. So I don't know what his ceiling really is in the division, but this is a major step down in competition for him. This is the easiest fight he's had since he came in. I mean, it's not even close. Now, and I think he's a professional enough. He's already, he's talking about where he has an advantages here. I don't think he's taking Schnell lightly. I think he needs to get another win. And you never know. In this kind of weight class, at 125, there's not a lot of logjam at the top. Really, the big problem is that you have guys. We're gonna have 9 fights between the same 2 guys for the title.
Yeah.
I think after Kai Kara France, it's kind of wide open for who's going to be the next contender. So Royval can string together this and maybe one more win. He's the next contender. So this is a hugely important fight for him. Schnell's kind of just, I hate to say it, like he's like the sacrificial lamb because the division's doesn't have depth. But what do you got for this? I feel like you can make a case for both. I think I gave Schnell out as the dart throw on the Wednesday show.
I believe so. I believe you did. Yeah, this definitely not playing either side in cash at all. 0%.
Too much volatility.
Too much, so much variance, volatility, however you want to put it. Royval, 9,300, scores 2.85 points a minute, 88 when he wins. But like you said, those were against some of the toughest, a bit of the toughest competition in the division with Pantoja, Moreno. Cara France, like you said, is probably one fight away from a title win, just beating everybody's, darling coming up in the flyweight division. Askar Askarov beat Bontorin in a fight that he didn't look great in. In fact, Bontorin scored more DraftKings points than Royval did in a loss, which never is a good look, but he did get the dub anyways. Schnell, 6,900, not my favorite fighter. 2.0, nothing against him personally, but he doesn't score very well. 2.09 points a minute, 72 and he wins. These are numbers to avoid in GPPs generally, but the unpredictability of Royval, could get him caught here. I'm not saying that I'm thinking that's going to happen more than once or twice out of 10, but it could happen here. He's very unpredictable. So give me a little bit of Schnell and GPPs and give me a bit of Brandon Royval as well. I just don't think that Slamplex Studios, I have a feeling I know who you are. And let me just say, I still haven't watched Elephant Thanksgiving Day Parade yet, but I will eventually at some 9,300 for Royval is a bit expensive, guys. 1,600 over his average salary, but that's just like whoever we talked about that was 2,200 over. He is fighting guys that are that should be beating him, so his salaries are generally lower. Like Lou said, this is the easiest competition that he's had so far in the UFC, so I feel like I have to play some of Royval, maybe a little bit more than I'm really willing to play. Probably in the 20 to 30% range in GPPs. Matt Schnell, good for salary relief. Get him into 10 to 15% of your lineups, most likely. Other than that, like I said, no cash for me at all. Much too volatile. Literally anything could happen in this fight. The most unlikely outcome is that this goes to decision, however. Next fight, speaking of goes to decision, Macy Chiasson going against Norma Dumont. I will probably just avoid this fight in everything. Maybe play a little bit of Chiasson in GPPs because she does score historically well. 3.89 points a minute, 101.54 when she wins. Generally has good DraftKings defense, allowing only 2.14 points a minute and 80 when she loses. And she's also 1,700 under her average salary with a average value of 9. So on average, 9xing. If she scores, if she wins this fight, she could make the optimal lineup with such a low salary, even if she scores, 80 in a decision. So I feel like for that reason, you have to play her. You get the leverage play, you get a cheaper salary, and possibly an advantage if she does win. Unfortunately, I don't think she's going to win this fight. She is moving up in weight. I just think Norma Dumont is going to be too much for her. 2.63 points a minute, 78 when she wins. No stats that I'm really looking forward to as far as GPP plays. She's also $1,500 over her average salary. So give me Chiasson and GPP. I don't even know if I like Dumont in cash, so I'm going to be keeping the rest of the plays very limited on this fight. Get me to the next one. Anything on this one at all? Are you taking a food break?
You see this comment? Hard pass on this fight. Couldn't have said it better myself. We talked about this on the Wednesday show a little bit. I just think Dumont, she's okay. First of all, she looked terrible today. Absolutely terrible on the scale. Came in over, but looked drained. Now, I'll have to look at her at the ceremonials, but she looked shitty. I mean, now...
And that was she missed by half a pound or...
Yeah, but it was bad. Like, the body language was very off with her. Like, the eyes were flickering. Like, I don't think she looked great at all. Now, as far as Chiasson goes, I didn't like her against Pennington, but Pennington's she's constantly like underrated. Like I think, and I'm terrible at picking Pennington fights.
And she went up a weight class, didn't she, to fight that on short notice?
Yeah, but she just looked terrible and she got bullied. Now, Chiasson is like her frame makes her. I'm not saying she's a big girl. Like her frame makes her. She's been able to weight bully people a little bit, like especially at 135. She won't be able to do that here. But to me, it's either you bet Chiesa because of how bad Dumont looked, or you just avoid this completely. If you bet the over, it's so juiced. I think it was -2. It's a lot. Over
minus
2.5.
251.
Yeah, I'm seeing over 2.5 -240. I mean, you can make it a parlay piece. I don't see, but you know, if you buy into how bad Dumont looked on the scale and you want to look at a case on finish, I guess I would never recommend it. I'm not even pulling up the price for that. It's dog or pass, dog or pass. But honestly, there are better fights coming up. Like there are better fights after this. That like the rest of the fights, even the next one we're going to cover, which is I believe Trinaldo and Hot Chocolate. Like every other fight, I have a better feeling about. So this is kind of like just get your drinks, make sure you're fed, and then like buckle up.
Yeah, I think this one goes to decision 9.5 times out of 10, probably.
Yeah,
so
and that might be low.
Yeah,
like
exactly. And yes, you are correct. Francisco Trinaldo, going. I believe what is his nickname? Translate to Redwood. So always a good
guy. It means guy,
dude. Francisco,
the
dude Trinaldo going against Danny Roberts. Yeah, Hot Chocolate, great nickname there. Two good nicknames, which is very important to me, as you would know. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? Which way are you leaning? Trinaldo, 43 years, 8 months old. Danny Roberts, 9 years younger than that.
I am less than a year older than Francisco Trinaldo, by the way.
He looks way older than you, Lou. Way older.
He looks he looks a little leathery.
Yeah.
I don't think this is such a crazy weird fight because I thought Roberts lost his last fight against Ameev. I really do. And the reason when you go back and watch that fight, the reason that Roberts won is simple. Ameev laid on him. He got him against the cage. He laid on him. He threw no volume. And the judges decided to make an example of Ameev. Now, I don't have a problem with that. Ameev did nothing. So I like it. Now, Trinaldo is going to execute literally the exact same strategy that Ameev did, but with a little more volume. I think he's going to hit him more. Danny Roberts has been finished in a lot of his losses. I just don't see a finish here. I think Trinaldo, the last guy he knocked out was Jai Herbert, who, like, Jai Herbert just gets knocked out every time he fights, unless he's fighting karma worthy.
Yeah.
So I think Trinaldo is going to execute the same thing. I think he's going to take him down. He's going to get him against the cage, rinse and repeat, throw enough punches to stay busy. I don't think Roberts is going to do much, but I think Roberts going to have success late because Trinaldo is 43 years old. So I like Trinaldo's decision. I like him. It's plus 200 for him to win a decision. And I like they both came off split decision wins. So a stab on Trinaldo split decision at plus 950 is not horrible here. Not horrible. I mean, if you want to play the over, if you want to play fight goes is minus 150. That's okay too. But yeah, I'm taking a hard stand with Trinaldo here. And like the thing is other than age, other than Trinaldo being 43, he's better everywhere. He's way better than Danny Roberts. Like Danny Roberts, he's not. And like, look, I love Hot Chocolate nickname, and I'm not trying to insult the Brits, but you know, British fighters have not done so well in the UFC over the course of Bisping aside. No one's really, you know, from England, like had a long-term successful run here. Like, and Roberts is kind of just here. Like he looks impressive. He's built. He looks like he has solid skills, but his fight IQ sucks.
Yeah.
His fight IQ's awful. And like Trinaldo just will not have to do much. If Trinaldo gets him down, Roberts, who has an okay get-up game, I just think Trinaldo's so much stronger than him. But I think this becomes one of those things where that third round starts and Roberts starts looking good in the feet, and you're like, shit.
Yep.
So like, don't play the draw, but also if you play the draw, I don't hate it, but I think this is goes the distance for sure. I'm leaning Trinaldo. I just think he's better everywhere except the fact that he's old enough to be his dad if like Trinaldo was doing drugs at a really young age.
For sure. Like
highly irresponsible.
Yes. You'll have to look at his parents as well.
I cannot imagine you're playing this at all. I'd be shocked if you're playing this at all.
Excuse me. If I am, I'm playing it in cash, but the salaries are I guess it's ideal salaries for these guys. Speaking of Paul Craig.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Paul Craig. You nailed it. Yeah.
8-2 in fights he's lost.
Who's that?
Paul Craig.
Paul Craig.
His record's 8-2 in fights he's lost, man. The best.
Love him. Yeah, these guys have no scoring as far as DraftKings. I'll keep this one short. If I need to, I guess I'll play Trinaldo in cash. I could see how Roberts wins this by decision as well. So if I need to, I'll just like flip a coin, Anton Chigurh style, and just pick one basically for a cash lineup. I'm not high on either of them. Nobody's making the optimal here. Nobody's probably nobody's getting an early finish. Probably nobody's getting a second round finish. I do expect a decision fight here and not to score very well. I mean, Trinaldo scores 78 points when he wins. Roberts 81.5. Trinaldo only allows 80 when he loses. Like there's pretty much no good stats here for either guy. I do expect this to go all three and score not very well. So that is my.
You just referenced my favorite movie of all time, by the way.
Also, my favorite movie as well.
Nice.
Coen Brothers for life.
It did not know that. That is like one of my. I just it's amazing. Like it's
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
He is maybe the greatest movie bad guy ever.
Oh, for sure. Don't just put it in your pocket. Yeah, fantastic. Randy Brown going against Chaos Williams. This could be one of the best, most exciting fights on the card for sure. Randy Brown 7,900, Chaos Williams 8,300. Man, this is a cash game boy's dream. Probably you could pick either side and probably be comfortable with it. I'm gonna tend to lean Chaos Williams. I think 3.06 points per minute, 102 when he wins. So I could even understand playing him a bit in GPPs for sure. He's only 560 over his average salary. His DraftKings defense, his defensive pace, allowing only 1.73 points a minute and only 62 in his one loss. I believe that was to, Peda. Randy Brown on the other side, scoring only 2.8 a minute, but 84 when he wins. Not very much at all. When he does lose, he gives up almost 3 points a minute and over 100 points in those cases, in those losses, I should say. So I'm going to kind of be on the side of Williams here. This is kind of a show me fight. Man, I'm excited for this one. Randy Brown has the height. He has the reach as well. So Williams is going to have to get inside. Hopefully he can throw more than one or two punches at a time and maybe put Randy Brown down. He has been, Randy Brown has a Chindex of 0.52. You want that number to be 0. So he has been knocked down in the past. And if anybody could knock you down, it is Chaos Williams. So give me both sides for cash, a bit more Williams and a bit of Williams in GPPs too. And at 8,300, that's not going to break your bank whatsoever. I like that play much more than I like Francisco Trinaldo, Danny Roberts. That's for sure. Both sides of this. So in my opinion, if you're going to play Trinaldo or Roberts, just pay up 100 for Williams or down 100 for Randy Brown. That is my opinion there. What do you got for this one?
I mean, this is such a good fight. Now, I went back and forth this one a little bit during the week. So this is one because I think Randy Brown is such an underrated good fighter, and I think people look at he's still held to the standard of Nico Price knocking him out from the bottom. I really feel like that that will haunt him. Now, like it haunts his people's like look at him. Skill for skill, he's the better guy here. He doesn't have the power advantage. I think that's pretty obvious. I think Chaos Williams is, I was really impressed with Chaos last time against Baeza.
Yeah, same.
Incredibly impressed.
And that might be, Baeza just wasn't as good as we thought he was at the time, but I'm still impressive to watch.
But they hit the ground.
Yep.
It was the first time we've really seen him not in a stand-up fight. Now, Williams came in guns a-blazing, like getting quick knockouts. Then he faced Semmelsberger, who the more and more you see Semmelsberger, the tougher and tougher you're realizing the guy is.
True.
So that decision win seems like a good win. For me, this goes one of two ways. This is Chaos in the distance, or it's Randy Brown decision. Randy Brown decision is plus 320. The problem with that bet is, as much as I like it, you are going to be shitting your pants for 15 minutes.
So sweaty.
Because Williams can crack you once. Now, I feel like I love Williams' power, but maybe we keep underestimating his actual all-around skill set. So I'm going to give Chaos Williams the benefit of the doubt here, and I'm going to play him in the distance. If you play the Brown side, I would play him decision at plus 350, 325, whatever your book's offering. However, 15 minutes of Chaos Williams where Brown has shown an issue with his chin, and Chaos Williams has shown that in the third round, his power is very much still there. He does not have a cardio issue. Lindbot's saying round 2. I don't hate it. I think the first round is going to be really interesting. I think Brown's going to use vet savvy. He's going to jab him, keep him away. But I think it's only and Williams' leg kicks are brutal. I mean, the guy's a kick. So I think it's only a matter of time.
Brown early. Maybe Brown starts to fade a little early than usual.
I just, the more and more I've seen of Williams, that Baeza fight, like I like seeing more and more of the overall skill set of Chaos Williams. I love his cardio. This is a guy that he throws hard without winding up and throwing everything as hard as possible.
Yeah.
Which is one thing I really like about watching his fight. So give me Williams to wear him down and get him out of there. Any of the round 2, round 3 props are live. I'm just going to play it a little safer. I'm going to take him in the distance. I don't know how Chaos wins a decision here. If it does go to decision, like if he wins by decision, I'm sorry. I just don't know. Because I feel like if it's gone that far, it's Brown just jabbing him up.
Yeah.
And maybe controlling him. I don't know if Randy Brown gets a lot of takedowns, but maybe kind of getting him up against the cage, getting like we did with Oliveira, like kind of getting his back, even if he's not like in a dominant spot, just getting his back, making him work hard. But I think it's just a matter of time. Chaos Williams gets him once. Maybe all it takes. I mean, Brown's certainly not impervious to it.
No, and Brown averaging less than 1 takedown landed per 15 minutes. He's only landed 2 total in his past 5 fights, 1 against Luque, 1 against Warley Alves. So love the breakdown there. We are on the last, I think this is officially the main card now. Donald Cowboy Cerrone going against Joe Lauzon. Before we get started, guys, thank you for sticking around. Please like the video and subscribe to the MMA Engine channel, where we drop several videos per week pertaining to whatever UFC card is happening. And you guys are going to love it. Me, Lou, Uncle Weezy, and Brady just dropping knowledge on you pretty much every 7 hours on average. So let's get it. Donald Cerrone, Joe Lauzon. What do you think about this one? Because we got 2 guys here, combined age. What is this, 76, almost 77 years old here? I didn't even know Joe Lauzon was still under UFC contract. And I was hoping that Donald Cerrone was not going to fight again, but here we are.
I mean, I realize there's a lot of reasons not to like this fight, but like, you know, how are you not a fan of these two in general? Like Lauzon, I mean, Lauzon's had some wars over the years. Cerrone has been fighting since 1938, fighting 18 times a year. Do I think either one should be fighting now? No, not really. I would have liked the Cerrone Sanchez fight, like if the Diego Sanchez ever talked about doing about a year ago. But
oh yeah,
I think first of all, the easiest way to bet this is the time props. Let's start there. I like under 2.5 minus 175. It's a good parlay piece. If you want it to go under 1.5, I mean, I don't hate you for doing that either. I think under 1.5 is just slightly plus money. It's a plus 125. I don't hate that either. I'm gonna not disagree with. I disagree with Lindbot here. I think the best way to play this, if you want to do a crazy prop, I'm taking Lauzon KO round 1. Depending on your book, it's between 9 and 10 to 1. It's Cerrone's losing edition at this point. The guy's chin is shot, and Lauzon, you know, to his credit, like he beat Jonathan Pierce round 1, which is crazy. I think we know what we're going to get from Lauzon at this point. I think he's going to blitz Cerrone early. Cerrone's not a fast starter in his career. So I'm going Lauzon round 1. It kind of breaks my heart here. But if you do want to, if Lauzon doesn't get him out of there in the first, I might take a look at Cerrone in the live betting markets, because he's going to be like, he might be 5 to 1 at that point if he takes a lot of damage, but he's still in the fight.
Do you think he can finish? Say he does take damage and do you think he can come back and finish Joe Lauzon? Do you think it goes to?
Oh yeah, he has a tremendous advantage on the ground if he really wants to do that. But
true.
Cerrone just has shown he's kind of not interested. He's not really interested anymore. But I have a feeling if he's getting punched in the face for 5 minutes and just hanging around there, taking him down is going to look pretty darn good at that point.
I mean, I don't react well to getting punched in the face. No one really does. But his reactions the past couple of fights to being hit are pretty bad.
I mean, I think the time prop is the best way to go if you just want to be a fan and root for violence. And 175 for under 2.5 is completely reasonable here. But I mean,
I like it.
Hopefully this is the last time we see either one of them. I hope the winner doesn't think they're getting like another fight because they won.
Well, supposedly Dana said this was
he said loser leaves town.
Right, yeah. Yeah. So as it should be. I mean, it should be both guys right off into the sunset. Go have a fucking drink and chill for a while. both of you are done fighting. So,
right. By the way, the average age of a person on the main card, 35.7 years.
I cannot even believe that. That is, I mean, now that you say it, it makes sense because of our next fight as well, but that is hard to believe. As far as DraftKings, man, I'm on the Joe Lauzon side here. I don't understand how anyone could pay $8,800 for Donald Cerrone in GPPs or in cash. I will have, I mean, none in cash, maybe 5% GPPs if I'm playing the 150 or something like that. But 8,800 for Cerrone is absolute insanity. His numbers are great in his career. They're fantastic, but in the last 5, they are the complete opposite. I don't really have to tell you that, but I mean, he's, lost 5 fights in a row, 1 no contest. Joe Lauzon on the other side, almost 3 points a minute, 100 points when he wins. The problem is he hasn't fought in 2.5 years, but I completely agree with you here. 7,400 is a fantastic price for a round 1 knockout possibility, which could be, 20, 30, 40% possible here at this point. Like you said, Cerrone is done. Like, I'm not saying Lauzon isn't, but I think both guys are done. And if Lauzon just bum rushes him, I don't know that Cerrone can just take that for a minute, 2 minutes. He could easily crumple him, maybe put him against the cage. He puts his hands up and whoever's the ref just stops the fight at that point. That's going to get you 12, 13, 14, 25x for Joe Lauzon at 7,400. So give me the Lauzon side. I'm not going to have anybody in cash. This is an old man fight with too much variance, but I think the highest percentage is just what you said, Joe Lauzon first round knockout, which would pay off tremendously. Now that's probably not going to be, a leverage play, but Joe Lauzon's not going to be the highest owned guy either. So I don't have a problem playing Joe Lauzon here in a ton of GPPs. Speaking of old men fights, Ovince St. Preux going against another guy I did not even think was on the UFC roster, Mauricio Shogun Hua, a legend in his own right here. $7,000. I'm not sure if that's even worth it. I've flip-flopped on this fight more times than I flipped on any other fight this week. At first, I was on the St. Preux side. Then on the Wednesday show, I declared Mauricio Shogun Hua as probably going to win the fight, and I like him for DraftKings lineup. Since then, I've really thought about it, and I'm kind of flipping again. I think OSP just finishes him pretty quickly. This could be a first, second round finish. I don't think it's going to be that tough. I just think Hua, the more I think about it, the more I think he is completely spent here. The only problem is 9,200 for Ovince St. Preux is even crazier than Donald Cerrone at 8,800. So I don't know how much I'm going to be able to get to OSP, but I'm going to have to get to him if I think he's going to finish Hua in the first round. If he doesn't, though, I'm now holding a $9,200 ticket that's going absolutely nowhere. So that is the problem. I will be putting a cap on OSP, but I don't have a problem playing him in GPPs, and I don't have a problem with Hua either. I'll probably be playing around the same percentage of them, actually, for some salary relief on the Hua side, but I'm not going crazy. I mean, I don't see how I could be exposed to more than 20% of Shogun without feeling like a complete imbecile. So he has been scoring well as far as DraftKings goes, but like I said, hasn't fought in a year and a half, and he's completely untrustworthy. 40 years old, 39 for St. Preux. Give me St. Preux to win and in GPPs. And if he gets that win early, I'm not counting on him to make the optimal, but he could be up there, number 8 highest scorer on the card. So give me OSP here. What do you got? Yeah, I know.
Much
exactly.
like let me just repeat my analysis from last fight. These whippersnappers in this fight. You don't have to put Cerrone and Lauzon back.
Yeah, I forgot. I messed up my programming, so now they're independent of each other.
I think the time props are the way to go to start. Under 2.5 minus 165. I don't think OSP wants to be there for 15 minutes. I don't think Who is capable of being there for 15 minutes. The big difference for me is that OSP has shown that, like, he's kind of a quitter too, man. Like, if things don't go his way, he's a good hammer. He's not a good nail. And like, skill for skill in a video game in a vacuum, Who is still better than him?
Dude.
Like, skill for skill, I think. Like, OSP has a choke. He has a great, the Von Flue, great at it, but I don't know that he's like, he doesn't have some massive advantage on the feet. No, but there's no cardio advantage in this fight. This fight's ridiculous for that. So the time prop to me under 2.5 is great. I'm taking Who a KO. The hell with it, man. Plus 450. I think OSP, it just, again, if he doesn't get it going his way, not only that, but OSP's been knocked out a couple times. Yeah, like Jamal Hill knocked him out. Like, all right, like we're not talking about the same level of competition currently.
Right.
I get it. But
Not at
Tanner
all.
Bozer knocked him out, and Bozer knock out nobody. Like, so I don't know how that happened. So could Hua hit him and that's it? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to take a shot with the dog, and there's no way this goes. I mean, if it goes distance, whatever.
This doesn't even get out of the first round, right?
So I don't know. I think who is going to get him out of there. I'm going to take a shot with the vet dog, and they're both vets. So I'm going to take a shot with the dog. I'm going to play him plus 550 or 450 with the KO. And yeah, this is one of my favorite like fun props of the day because I don't see another way that he wins. I mean, what he's going to do? He's going to grapple fuck him for 15 minutes? No.
No shot. No shot. I'm shaking my head, not because I disagree with your pick. I agree with it. And it's just, this fight for DraftKings is fucking impossible.
I mean, if OSP comes out and starches him and he's optimal, like, okay. But like,
I'm going to feel like an idiot for playing Hua.
Yeah, well, I mean,
if Hua comes out, I'm going to feel like an idiot for playing OSP.
But that's part of the problem with playing lineups is like, you get these fights like this where you're like, you have to take somebody, you have to take a stand. You feel like you have to roster it. And then no matter what you pick, you're wrong. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, this fight should be like 1 round to a finish. That's it.
Wasn't that crazy, insane boxing match between Taylor Serrano, 2-minute rounds? This should be a 2-minute round, 2-round fight.
This should be a 30. This should be like Pride. It should be a 10-minute round, and then that's it. And then there's no need for the second 5-minute round.
That's so true.
But strangely enough, I'm looking forward to it because like, look, you know what's interesting about this to me is people are complaining about like fights like this and Cerrone, Lauzon being on the main card. However, I like to make this analogy when it comes to like WrestleMania. WrestleMania is not for wrestling fans. WrestleMania is for lapsed fans and for casual fans that are like, oh my God, The Undertaker's on. It's like, yeah, he's 50, but like names like that, like Stone Cold's on, like that's so cool. People care about that. For pay-per-views, it's still about name recognition. I mean,
100%.
Like, we're going to watch like Dana White doesn't give a shit about me and you. We're going to watch every card. I mean, the fact that also like it's kind of our job, but like as a fan, we're going to watch every card because we like watching fights. But he wants these names on there to be like, cool, the casuals that maybe aren't sure if they're going to do that night, especially Canelo's on, you know, so he's trying to draw people away from that. Like, so you get these kind of names that people are like, holy shit, he's still fighting. I talked to somebody yesterday who was like, he's a lapsed fan. And I'm like, you should see the main card. He's like, I'm not going to know anybody. I'm like, I bet you'll know
all of them.
What's Mushroom? What's your, for all main card fights, huh?
Ooh,
well, let's take a look because I just gave away 2-time props for the first 2. We're getting to Chandler Ferguson, which I have 2 takes on that, and then we got the 2 main events. Mushroom, hang in there. You may like what I have to say.
The
main event. We can agree the main event not going the distance.
Oh God!
We'll
especially
get to
after
that one,
what we saw today.
Well, I mean, I don't care. I don't care if these guys weighed in on the dot. Like, there's, if that fight goes the distance, I give up. But
yeah. I mean, 2 Gaethje fights back to back going the distance would be insane. Co-main, man, this is gonna be either the shock of the year so far or the ugliest fucking beatdown we've seen all year. Michael Chandler going against Tony Ferguson. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off because it's pretty easy as far as DraftKings goes.
Okay, so I hope Mushroom's listening to this. So Ferguson is just, I don't care. Like, everybody's making a big deal about his comments on Wednesday.
This dude says literally everything. He says
is he? No, now he's crazy. No, man.
Yeah.
Guys, it's like, this isn't new. If he came in
all turtle,
I'd have been more concerned if he came in like, I'm really grateful to be like, no, dude. I like Crazy Tony's great. Now, I see a lot of people on this Chandler round 1, like he's gonna get him out of there immediately. Nah. He's not getting him out of there immediately. So I have 2 plays here. One is a parlay piece. Fight starts round 2 at -280. Ooh. I don't think Chandler gets him out of there early. The big question is, will Chandler go to the wrestling? Ferguson's already talking about going to the wrestling. I'm like, don't. That's a bad idea.
That's why he tried ankle picking him. He's
Now-
just trying to throw him off.
Now, Ferguson historically is not only durable, but he like doesn't care about the first round. He's never. Has Ferguson ever had a good first round? Like
I don't
ever?
think so.
He doesn't care. He's like Elkins. He just doesn't give a shit about the first
See,
round.
Cheeto Vera's had better first rounds than Ferguson.
Yeah, some guys just don't. They're just not good starters. But can Ferguson wear him out in the second and third? Yeah. You know I'm on Ferguson round 3 at plus 2,900 here. You have to know I am on Ferguson round 3 to pull a miracle out of him. And Chandler, look, man, everybody's like, well, Chandler knocked out Hooker and Hooker never been knocked out. Like, yeah, Hooker's short. Like, I mean, their frames are comparable. Ferguson's so awkward. He's not hitting an uppercut on Ferguson. I'd be shocked if he hit. Now, can he hit him with a big overhand? But could he hit Ferguson 15, 20 times in the first round and not get him out of there? I know MMA math is not like a strong way to handicap fights, but if the ref had to stop his fight against Gaethje in the 5th after Gaethje was just teeing off on him, fuck Chandler gonna do? And I'm not convinced Chandler has awesome cardio. Like,
right?
Could Ferguson just kind of hang in there and get him out of there in the second or third? Absolutely. So the parlay piece is it gets out of the first, as I feel like that's Chandler's really his best chance to win. But this is a live bet spot for me for Ferguson. This is a round 3 spot for me for Ferguson. And I think Ferguson in the distance is it's gonna be the way of the day. If you want to go fight doesn't go, I don't hate it. It's pretty reasonable. I think it's minus 200. It's very reasonably priced. But
it doesn't go. Yeah, right around there. Yep.
But I think Ferguson can get a late finish here. And maybe I'm crazy. This isn't tinfoil hat. You know, I'm not a dude who lives near a library, but I think that without CGI happening, I think without CGI on the screen or whatever, I think Ferguson can kind of wear him out in the second and third. And I mean, Chandler, look, man, another thing about Chandler is look back at some of his Bellator fights, like the Brent Primus one. I had Brent Primus as like a stupid dog. I'm like, I just hate Chandler. And then Chandler tore his ACL in 5 seconds. And you're like, oh my God, all right, good win, dude. Got first minute finish. But even in the rematch, Primus was kind of all right. You know, I don't know, man. Chandler to me he has this rep as being this crazy, amazing power puncher, but is he?
Is he though?
Against guys like Benson Henderson, he can hurt him, but Ferguson is a very different animal. Yeah, I mean, Mushroom saying third decision. I don't hate that either, man. I'm just taking the stab on the third round. I cannot pass up this, and it's not even a win condition,
right?
You just take them in the third. Go for it. By the way, DraftKings only 22-1, whereas 29-1 on FanDuel left.
Trash.
I have seen people hitting that prop though, so it could be down since last I looked. People have been kind of hitting. They feel like that's Ferguson's win condition, but
right.
But man, I'm excited about this fight too, and I would love to see. I kind of don't like Ferguson as a human being, but I love him as a fighter.
I couldn't hang out. I could never hang out with that guy.
No,
that would be impossible.
No, and he's
fine. Yeah, just a very unique individual. Michael Chandler is going to be impossible for me to get to in GPPs. I'm not going to keep saying the same thing I've been saying for weeks, but 9,600 is the worst salary you can play for GPPs. Now, cash games, on the other hand, I do like Michael Chandler. I will have him in a ton of lineups, just like I did with, say, for instance, Romanov last week. 3.78 points a minute so far in his UFC career. And when he did win, he put up 107 points. Now he is $2,100 over his average salary, but he's usually been he's been the underdog in his first 3 fights against Gaethje, Oliveira, and Hooker. So Ferguson, $6,600. Man, I guess you have to play some in GPPs. This guy might be 5% owned. What's up?
I did forget something after you're done handicapping this fight. It's very important.
What's that?
May I?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
So the OSP fight with Hua, I do have one other bet in that fight.
Oh, yeah. What is it? Probably doesn't start Yam bags, baby.
The Yam bag special, because
pop for the Yam bag.
Because when do I take Yambags bets? On fights that make no sense to me at all. And the Hua OSP fight does not make any sense to me.
Not at all.
So I just didn't want to forget. We didn't go too far. I just wanted to say it. Thank you.
No, you can't take the yams out of the freezer for no reason.
You could take the loo out of the bag, but you can't take the bag out of the loo.
That's what they say.
I feel like Jimmy the Bag should have a segment about yam bags.
He should. You know, if he
talks about the Bag family, can't the yam bag be part of the Bag family?
I mean, I think it automatically is part of the Bag family. I think he's just trying to, he just hasn't gotten you the invite to the reunion yet.
Right. I'm not a part of the family, just the Bag is.
No, well, yeah, but I mean the bag needs a handler. Well, you're the handler of the yam bags, the yam bag whisperer. You got to whisper and tell it where to go.
The spice melange, the spice.
But yeah, Tony, I can't even believe Tony Ferguson. I mean, I personally think Chandler wins this fight more times than he doesn't. Probably in the second, third, oh God, I don't even know.
Does he ever beat Vintage Ferguson? If it's Vintage Ferguson, does Chandler ever beat him?
No, I don't think so.
What's the line?
I think it's Ferguson than this.
I think Ferguson's minus 200 Vintage Ferguson.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, especially if Chandler is the 1 and 2 Chandler that we're seeing now. I would agree 100%.
I think Vintage Ferguson
Chandler's not going to get finished, or Ferguson's not going to get finished at that point.
Right.
And that's Chandler's only win condition. If this goes to decision, Ferguson, I mean, if his face doesn't look completely mangled, could get the win.
It really comes down to if Chandler decides to implement wrestling.
Right.
Like, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, we know he can, but I just don't know that he's interested in doing it. Like,
no, I think he's headhunting.
I imagine if Ferguson tags him in the second, starts hurting him, Chandler will have to. I think he would resort to it. I don't know that he would. Again, Chandler's 1 and 2. Now he's not in danger of being fired. Dana White already said he's one of the guys in danger of being cut. But 1 and 3 is not getting you main event fights.
No,
1 and 3 is getting you like 9, 10. You're fighting like 9 or 10 in the division.
It'll get you a lot of good speeches talking about picking yourself up by the bootstraps, but that's about all it will give you.
I mean, this is an important fight for Chandler. So I think if he does have to resort to the wrestling, he will. This isn't about putting on a show like the Gaethje fight was. He needs a get right win.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. And it looks like that's what the UFC has set him up for here against Tony Ferguson. They
hate Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Chandler probably gets this done early. This could be a first round, finish, possibly second. I'm still avoiding him in GPPs, playing him in cash only for the most part. Maybe a few GPPs here, less than about 20%. But Ferguson, not playing him in cash at all. But even if you play 10% of Ferguson, you might be double the field on this guy. So a huge leverage play. And like you said, if this gets past 7 minutes,
do you really think
so? Start sweating.
Do you really think?
I think he's going to be way low.
6%.
I think he's going to be under 10%. I think I looked at it earlier today. He was about 4.6 or 5, something like that.
Is Schnell going to have more ownership than him?
Probably because that's way more. I mean, I don't think people trust Royval. Yeah, I think he's more exciting for sure, but you can't trust him. Whereas Chandler, you can't trust Chandler, but against Ferguson, today's Ferguson, he's a little bit more trustworthy.
You do happen to have a couple people on this card in that really low range, like Lauzon, and like we're going to get to Esparza next. But there are some people in that like low 7,000 range. Carnelossi, if you want to take a shot. That there's a lot of upside with those people in that lower range. So
huge.
So I guess I can understand why Ferguson. I would think is like a public known guy that maybe he would have gotten more ownership, but okay.
He still might. I mean, I'll check again later, but earlier it was definitely in the single digits. So which I was also pretty surprised by, but I just think everyone thinks Chandler's gonna, I think they think Ferguson's done. It seems like, at least that's the attitude. That's the perception I would get from that.
Okay.
Next fight, co-main event. Rose Namajunas, Thug Rose going against the Cookie Monster, Carla Esparza. 2 great nicknames here. This is a rematch of about, a 6-7-year-old fight. Rose Namajunas, 8,900. Decent score, 3.1 points a minute, 97 when she wins. Allows only 2.5 points per minute and 95 when she loses. Carla Esparza, a tremendous pace, 3.75 points a minute at $7,300. She has made the optimal. Both of these women actually have made the optimal lineup in Rose 2 of 2 of her last fights, and Carla 1 of 1 of her last fights. So 96, no stranger to the optimal lineup. 9,600 per win for Carla Esparza. Again, allowing 96 points. These women have almost identical stats. Esparza with the much better pace, however, and that's going to come from her takedowns and control time. That's the angle I'm looking at here. I'm sure everyone, the Twitterverse is, just alive with these takedowns and control time takes from Esparza. I do think Namajunas can win this fight. Of course, she is the champ. She's, beaten several former champions, especially in the past 6 fights. But I think if she wins, it's going to be by decision. And I think she might be right around that 97, 98, maybe over 100-point range. I do like the Namajunas play for cash this week, but for GPPs, I will not have much of her. The GPP fighter I'll be targeting in this one is obviously Carla Esparza, the huge, gigantic, ginormous takedown upside and control time upside. She might be able to take Namajunas down how many times? 5, 6, 7? Who knows? And that's if Namajunas keeps getting up. So I think Esparza really has a chance to rinse and repeat takedowns, bank some control time, and if she can do this for 5 rounds, all she needs to do is win 3 of them to get that 30-point bonus. And I think for 5 rounds at 3.75, points per minute, what is that? 50, 70, 85, 90 points, plus 30. We're at 120. At 7,300, she's making the optimal lineup 100% of the time with over 100 points. So give me Esparza in GPPs, Namajunas for cash. But I love the Esparza play here, and I am picking her to win this fight and the belt. So it's going to be an interesting night if that happens. What do you got for this one?
This is going to be an awesome fight.
I love it.
I understand. So I think people have been complaining about the line and that it being too wide, but thanks, Torque. I think, I'm used to hearing him say it. So the people think the line is wide. I think the line's, to me, it's about right. But that being said, I'm on the Esparza side for the takedown upside. Weezy had a great stat he brought up earlier in the week that Rose Namajunas has really never faced more than, I believe, 2 takedown attempts in a fight.
Right. And, it's something like that.
And Esparza averages over 3.5, like her last 3 or 4 fights. She would have had more against, like Jan, but she finished her. I think that would have just been rinse and repeat.
Agreed.
I think Esparza. So what I worry about with Rose, and I don't, Rose Namajunas is so frustrating to me because I'm not a huge fan of her, but I can't deny that her toughness. I can't. But what really impressed me about her, first of all, she lost her last fight. I don't care what the judges were. That was a robbery as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed.
I don't know that I can't remember what I bet on. I remember not being angry about it, so I couldn't have had anything on the side. Maybe I had the over or time prop, but the one thing I like about Namajunas the most is she adjusts so well. So the question for me is, if Esparza has early takedown success, can Namajunas start? Because all she's been working on is sprawling and takedown defense this camp.
You would hope.
Namajunas advantage on the feet. I don't really think I have to talk about that too much. And she has finishing power. I mean, she's clear finishing power with her high kicks. She got Joanna with a punch. She's got power for the division. Now, I go the way of, I think, Esparza early and often with takedowns, and I don't know if Rose will have enough time, but this is another one of these fights where you might know after the first round if Esparza is getting a lot of takedown success and the price on Rose is right. And I'm talking over plus 300, maybe a stab there and just hope that she'll adjust. But I got to play the dog here. I think the price is, I just can't resist the price at plus 180.
Oh, it's juiced. It's not juicy. It's juice. It's juicy.
I'm not. And the thing is at plus 180, I have no reason to play a decision prop here. I do think she wins by decision, but I have no reason even for a 25-minute fight. I don't have a reason to really worry about at that point. Now, as far as fight doesn't go the distance, I know that Mushroom is bringing up his parlay with this. Then you like the Rose side, and I'm not saying Esparza can't get a finish. She's just coming off a finish, but typically you would like the Rose side if you like the fight doesn't go. You could take a look at Rose in the distance, but I'm just playing it. I'm playing the side as far as no time props for me here. And, but I think it's going to be, a lot. I think this could be a split decision.
Yeah,
I
it
think it
could be. I
depends on
mean,
I think it depends on because Rose is a good get up game. So I really think it depends on what Esparza does with the takedowns. If she's just getting them and that's it, that's fine. If she's ending the round and she's inflicting damage, that's great. But Rose Namajunas adjusts as these fights go. So if you like the Rose side, she's going to be a great live betting spot if Esparza gets those takedowns early.
for sure. And you mentioned Rose inside the distance. I don't even think that's good enough. Only plus 189 on average. Maybe I'm sure you could find it for over plus 200 somewhere, but I would think that might be a little bit bigger. But I guess, I mean, like you said, she does have a ton of power, the second best power index on the card. So
I do see people on the Esparza sub too. I've been seeing a couple of people all the week. I don't like it. I just
over plus 1200, 12 to 1 there.
yeah, I don't. I don't know, man. I think I just don't see it. But I think if anything, the ground and pound is maybe a better finish option for her. But yeah, I just think it's going to be control. But just be careful. Rose can fight 5-round fights. I mean, she has the experience at your championship fight, so we'll see. Be a great fight either way.
Man,
Very
I was gonna
competitive
say
fight.
it's gonna be a good one. And if we hear the and new after, how happy is Carla Esparza gonna be? She's getting married a week from Saturday, in fact. So hopefully she's not too, beat up. Maybe she doesn't care. I'm sure she doesn't care about that. But it would be nice to have the belt in some of those wedding pictures, that's for sure. So main event, Lou, we did it. We're right at about our average, a little bit more with 15 fights. What do you expect, guys? Thank you so much for being here. Hit that like, hit that subscribe as well, and hit the bell if you never want to miss anything as far as the MMA engine. So thank you again for being here, and we will dive in to the main event. Charles do Blanche Oliveira going against Justin the Highlight Gaethje. I'm going to start this one because, as usual, I want to hear what you have to say about the main event last. So, Charles, I mean, everybody knows at this point. In fact, I found out late, but apparently he misses weight. Could be a scale issue, maybe not. Who knows? We have comments from Carnelossi coming in about how the scale was off by half a pound. But either way, as of now, Oliveira has been stripped of the title and therefore cannot win it tomorrow. Tomorrow, because he missed weight for the championship bout. Justin Gaethje on Twitter talking shit, already back up to like 165 or some shit, while Oliveira is missing weight. So I thought that was pretty humorous. Oliveira 8,500, 7,700 for Gaethje. I'm not playing this one in cash probably at all, but this is a GPP boy's dream. I'm gonna have at least 90% of this fight rostered as far as my lineups. I'll have more Gaethje. I was thinking, 55, maybe 50-40 for Gaethje, 55-35, something like that. I might have a little bit more now. I don't generally care about these weigh-in nonsense. No matter what happens, Oliveira is back up to where he needs to be, and he's going to come out like a madman tomorrow, as he usually does. So I think this could be fight of the year. I'm picking Gaethje to win. Hopefully early. That would really pay off that $7,700 salary. I mean, he's putting up 3.5 points a minute, 105 when he wins. Oliveira's putting up 3.5 a minute, 95 when he wins. Both guys allowing, Oliveira allowing 2.78 points a minute, 96 when he loses. Gaethje allowing 3.5 points a minute and 108 when he loses. Both guys are right at their average salary or below. Both guys have average values of over 8.5 and over 10.2. What is there not to love about this fight? I'm just going out on a limb and picking Gaethje. It would be fantastic to hear and new for Esparza, and then to follow that up with and new from Justin Gaethje. I mean, how big would the smile be on Trevor Whitman's face, even though Rose may lose the belt? To see Gaethje win, that might make this guy's whole entire year. And who doesn't love to see the insane smile of Trevor Whitman all the time on their screen? So give me Gaethje. Tons of exposure on this fight for GPP. I absolutely love it. And no matter who wins or loses, I'm going to enjoy the shit out of this one, as I'm sure you will as well. What do you got for the people to finish off this main event and finish off UFC 274?
So what I'm about to say has nothing to do with the weigh-ins. It has zero to do with it because that's just how I feel. I love Gaethje here. I love him in this spot. I love him by knockout. I love him rounds 1 and 2 if you want to do that on DraftKings. Any violence play you want to make on Gaethje, I love. The reason to me is very simple. People keep talking about like the wrestling. Understand. Completely understand. Last 2 fights with Oliveira. Dustin Poirier hurt him badly. Michael Chandler hurt him badly. Even Ferguson hit him like 3 times, I think. But anyway, here's the difference between those guys and Gaethje. If Gaethje hits him hard enough, he's not coming back from it. And Gaethje has this rep for being a wild man. I get it. But since he's been with Whitman, watch the Tony Ferguson fight. He's controlled. He still throws hard.
It's beautiful.
But he's controlled. He's disciplined. Look at him.
He's not winging bombs like he was against Michael Johnson.
Look at him in the Chandler fight. I mean, I don't know how Chandler didn't go down, but again, he wasn't blowing his cardio. So the thing is if Gaethje fights this more controlled style, like forget about Khabib. Khabib is just unbelievable. Forget about Khabib. Oliveira doesn't wrestle like Khabib. Now, I don't know if Gaethje can stuff many takedowns by Oliveira, and I don't know that if Oliveira gets one, that could be the end of the fight for Oliveira. I understand all these things. What I just can't get over here is I don't know how Oliveira comes back from Gaethje crushing him with one shot, and Oliveira gets tagged every fight.
It's gonna happen.
So it's that to me. It's that simple. It's new because of that. Any time prop you want to play here, like, I mean, under 2.5, I think is still like, it's so crazy reasonable. It's like
minus 156, 160, something like that.
Yeah.
You could probably find it at 150.
I'd be kind of shocked. I mean, Poirier's had really good durability and he got finished. Chandler doesn't have great durability, but that fight was quick. I mean, Oliveira's just in a lot of quick fights.
And the legs too, raw torque and the legs.
Got it. Yeah. The only thing I worry about is if Gaethje gets a leg kick caught, but
even then, I
mean, Khabib himself has said, I could not have taken more leg kicks from Gaethje. Like, this guy, nobody kicks harder than I've ever fought in my life. But again, this has nothing to do with the weigh-ins. Now, if you want to look at like a narrative of the fight, then Oliveira would win, and then Conor McGregor walks in and they just give him the belt after the fight. And then like the thing is they already have lines up for Oliveira and Makhachev. And when I saw that in the first place, I was like, Gaethje's going to ruin that.
What? Why?
Because
that's insane.
Because you know why? Because they have props on who's going to end the year as the champions. They had to.
Okay.
But I think Gaethje's. I don't think. By the way, Gaethje probably can't beat Makhachev because I don't know who can beat Makhachev right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
and new. I agree, man. I love it. That is gonna do it, guys. We got all 15 fights from UFC 274. Trying to go through some of these questions here real quick because you guys are killing it with the questions. Thanks again for being in the chat. What do you think, Lou?
We already fixed it.
We already fixed that one. Okay.
Bulgarian Fitty
there it is right there. No distance OSP and Royval. I like it. I don't think the Royval fight finishes or goes the distance rather. And if OSP and Hua go the distance, I'm probably going to miss the rest of the card because I will be asleep, unfortunately. So I don't think that's going to happen. Covered that under there we go. Okay, so excellent, guys. We really appreciate you hanging out with us tonight on your Friday. You even have a little bit of time to get some food in you for before Lou Betya, my intrepid co-host right here on Monk and Lou's Happy Hour, is going live with. Is it the same person? Yep. Is it Couch Warrior MMA? I believe on Twitter at 8:30, 7:30 Central. Is that what you said?
Yes,
8:30, 7:30 Central, so you guys can get some food in. Put those kids to bed. Just tell them it's Thursday. Tell them they have school tomorrow. They won't know. Just don't wake them up in the morning, and they'll forgive you. So then you can enjoy your time. One last time, be sure. Oh yeah. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And Lou, before we get out of here, we have a bonus pick. Is that what I'm seeing in the chat? We need to give out what you were talking about earlier.
That's correct. So anyway, and from my bottom of my heart, thank you guys for hanging out. Like, we really do appreciate it.
Yeah, follow Lou on Twitter at Lou Betya, me at MonkMMATics. Check it out.
Yeah, you can compare me like Mushroom does to every comedian you've ever seen: Dave Attell, Ari Shaffir, Stan Hope, whatever the hell was going on last night.
Dave Chappelle.
But there's another sporting event tomorrow that I have a relatively strong opinion on. I'd like to give you a bonus pick. I know that most sports books in America don't offer this, but I know Glenbot maybe could find this. If you are interested in betting the Kentucky Derby tomorrow, I've been researching this I've been doing my tape study for 2 weeks. And then the draw came out and I liked it even more because I liked the stalls that my guys got. So if you do want to play the Derby, I like the number 10 Messier, still sitting at 9-1 in some places, as high as 10-1. And I like Zan in the 6 horse. They both got favorable stalls. 3 horses between them are all 20 and 30-1 shots. The Derby's all about like who can break out of the pack. That's why I don't like anybody against the rails. That's why I don't like Epicenter at the 3. I think they can get locked in there. I like Messier's finishing speed. Horse has been getting better every race. Taiba's not bad at the 12, but I like the 6 and the 10 if you want to play the winners in the race. But if your sports book allows this, and I know Bovada has it, what odds or evens to win the Derby at minus 130, even numbers, 6, 10, and 12. Monk, you're the worst. 6, 10, and 12 gives you Zandon, gives you Messier, gives you Taiba, gives you, and I think it might give you White Abario too, but I key on those 3 horses. They're both the Baffert horses, even though Baffert's banned from the track, but they're his horses. Like, nobody's fooled by this. If you can do the even number 1, that means you're betting on 10 horses and you're betting on 3 of the top 5 in the race, and I believe 5 of the top 8. So even number to win, but the 6 and the 10, Messier is my pick to win the Kentucky Derby. I will not tell you my horse betting record. I am very good at betting top 3s, but it's okay. It's, you know, it's better than my record of betting Jay Collier fights.
That is a lot of action, man. That's going to be, I mean, I'd love to have the live cam on you. Just maybe you should put that up on MMA Engine, just live stream of your reaction watching the Kentucky Derby. This could be something we could do here. So
the 10, just remember the 6. 6 is Messier, the 10 is Zandon. Those are the 2 I like. There's my guy, George Montero, calling me all sorts of goddamn names like he did last night. I like this guy. I leaned right into him. He knows I'm a good sport about it. What is my most confident bet? Wow. Okay. My most confident bet on the card is still the Cerrone, Lauzon, anytime prop with that fight you want. Under 2.5, doesn't start round 3, which I think is like minus 125 on DK. I just do not see how that fight gets out of the second round. If OSP and Hua want to have the most boring fight ever, maybe. There is no way Cerrone fighting in his hometown and Joe Lauzon, who has no more than 5 minutes of cardio, I do not see how that fight goes past the second round.
Agreed. I love
that's
the play.
My most confident play.
I'll be tailing that one for sure. Maybe adding a little bit on.
And OSP Hua with the Yam Bag special.
Yam bags, baby. Play it. Point deduction.
Right in the bags.
Right in the bags. And you know, the older you get, the more it hurts, man. You start to sit on them. It's just painful all the time if you start doing that. So
and as Mitch Hedberg once said, since we're doing the comedians thing, you can't please all the people all the time. The only problem is all those people are at my show.
And they're probably, most of them, in the chat here as well. I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
8:30 tonight for the bet elevator, and then I'm doing the best. I'm doing the best bets panel at noon Eastern on John Kelly's channel tomorrow.
Nice.
See if I can get 3 in a row on a show.
3 in a row, yeah. Shout out John Kelly. He that's a great show. So be sure to check that out. Like Lou said, at noon, a few hours before lock, so you still have time to get some bets in, some DK picks in as well. Check out my guy Lou on that show. He's on a heater lately. John Kelly's nooner. So let's get it going. Guys, that's going to do it. Follow me, follow Lou. Check out my game theory video. I got a couple other videos as far as stuff for UFC 274, some fades, some plays. Check me out on Thrive Fantasy as well. Got a video of there with some pick 5s going on for the new fantasy game at Thrive MMA, or Thrive Fantasy is doing for MMA, I should say. But really, guys, check out MMA Engine. I know you're already here, but like the video, subscribe to the channel. There's so many other shows that we do weekly. Probability fantastic, bet elevator, like Lou said, coming up in about an hour and a half. One of my personal favorites, so do not miss that. And thanks again, guys. And as usual, I want all of you to enjoy the fight. So enjoy. And me and Lou will see you next time. Have a good one.
Guys.